For sure, for sure. So there you are. Good morning, everyone. I just record this for the rest of the office in case somebody misses it. Super important topic. Right now in real estate, I always talk about getting that ball rolling and getting things started. The worst thing you can do is now say, okay, I've made my money for the year. Let me slack off a little bit. Let me enjoy the holidays, which you should. You got to take some time off for the holidays. But before those last few weeks come in December, we're going to have to do some goal setting practices and some business strategic planning practices right now. It's super important for our business. So I want to talk to you guys about a couple things. I have some sheets and stuff I want to relogo before I send it all to you guys when I do the goal setting section, hopefully next week or the week after. It's super good. It took a lot of time to embed a lot of formulas in it, so it's easy for you guys. But we're going to talk a little bit today about our business planning. What are our business plans? If you guys start in January and say, oh, you know what, I really want to do well this year, and January 1st, you're sitting there and you're at your desk thinking about how you can do good, it's too late already. You've already ruined your first quarter. Now is when you have to start thinking about your first quarter, right? So business planning is super important. So I just want to go over one of these articles that I've had for years here now. And I think it really covers quite a lot. I'm not sure we're going to get through the whole thing today, but we're going to start talking about creating our business plan. So like I said, developing your business plan is critical to the health and sustainability of your business, right? So they said 75% more likely to grow if you create a business plan, right? So you got to say to yourself, how much business did I do this year? And what do I want to do next year? How do I want to improve? What goals do I want to hit for next year, right? So it's just showing a little chart there, you know what I mean? If people with business plans and no business plans. If you have a business plan, how much likely you are to secure a loan, secure investment capital, that's fine. But growing your business statistically, that's the most successful thing when you have a business plan for, right? It's going to really increase your real estate business. But the problem with creating a business plan is that agents and brokers often get bogged down with details. So what does that mean? It means we drag out our business plans and it can cost us, right? The chances of success rose by 12% for those who spent no longer than 3 months on their plan, with any longer providing futile. So I don't even suggest you spend 3 months on your business plan. I think real estate is a quick, simple calculation. We're going to go over how many deals you need, how it's the average commission, how you're going to get that business, and sort of jam that together over the next few weeks. I really want you guys to start thinking about this though. So I always start with this topic about creating a business plan because I want to get you talking about and thinking about what you want to do and what your goals are for the next year. Because I find when you'll see in a couple of weeks, like I said, when I have the sheet there I created for everybody to plug in how many deals you want to do, what your monetary goal is for next year. A lot of people get really lost and they can't think, what is a reasonable number? If I made 50 grand this year, can I do 300,000 next year? Is that a tangible goal, right? So you just got to start thinking about what it is you want for next year and how you want to succeed, right? So what is a real estate business plan? A business plan is a written document that captures the future of your business. It details what you plan to do and how you plan to do it. Specifically, it conveys your business goals, the strategies and tactics that you'll use to achieve them, potential problems you might run into along the way and how to overcome them, roles and responsibilities. We're going to go over the SWOT analysis. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the SWOT analysis before. It's super helpful. And measurement strategies. So why do we want to create a business plan? Because we want to do better next year, right? We want to make more money. That's what we're doing. We want to figure out how is it we're going to achieve that and make more money, right? So we have to start with a solid foundation. So they always say, write an executive summary or a mission statement, I like to call it. What's your mission statement, right? A lot of companies have this. You open up their websites, you open up, even our brokerage website, we have that mission statement. What is it? Who are we? Who do we service? What are our strengths? And what are our goals for the community or the people that we're servicing, right? So in real estate, it includes just that. What are our target neighborhoods and price ranges, right? So I keep on talking about working your pillars all the time, how you grow your business by working your pillars. So you're going to focus on certain neighborhoods, right? We talk about targeting certain neighborhoods, 300, 400, 500 homes in the area that you like to work in. So what is that target neighborhood and what are the price ranges? Are you downtown where you're mostly working on condos around the $800,000 mark? Are you mostly in, Cliff Crest where you're working on 1.2 and $2 million homes, right? So you have to really think about that in your business plan because that's going to tell you how many deals you need to go to get your goal and what your average commissions are going to be. When you're thinking about those target neighborhoods, you want to think about the target clients and a brief description of their persona. So when you talk about persona, is the neighborhood that you're working and the place that you're targeting mostly families with children, or are they single working professionals, right? Or is it an aging community where people are kind of getting old and moving out? Is that the persona that you're dealing with, right? Your brief marketing plan overview. So how you plan to market to these people. We'll talk a little bit how it's different depending on your target audience. Right? What are the market threats? God bless you. Somebody's sleeping there. Okay, let me just mute you. Brief marketing plan overview. What are the market threats and opportunities? So what are the threats and opportunities in the area that you're looking to market in and that you're looking to pull business from? So you think of the executive summary as a section of your business plan. You explain to a friend at a football game. You want it to be a brief synopsis. Like I said, just a little kind of like mission statement about who you are, what you're going to do, and how you plan to do it. Okay. Write a detailed business description. So there's a story and context behind your business, and the business description is where that should shine. Part of the business description, which helps keep the rest on track, is the mission statement. Many mission statements follow a familiar format, like to be the best full service real estate company in the Triangle or the GTA, and to enhance our quality of life through active community involvement, right? Good mission statement there. Okay. As well as a defined mission statement, you have to make sure you include, and this is all part of your business plan, when you were founded. So when were you founded? I've been working in real estate for the last 10 years, right? That's when we were founded. Where you're located. I work primarily in the GTA and surrounding areas. Who the leaders are, right? In your industry, you have to be aware. What are the special advantages and partnerships you have? So do you have strength that, you have stagers and mortgage brokers and, insurance providers and home inspectors that you work with, right? What are your market opportunities? And what is your legal structure, right? So we talked a little bit about performing a SWOT analysis. I don't know how many of you guys have heard about this before. I remember even being, let me just let somebody in here. I remember even being back in university and they had this SWOT analysis. They use it pretty much in any situation. It's good when you're sitting down to think about your business plan because it stands for your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and your threats. So these are some things that you have to kind of contemplate and sit down. So when you talk about your strengths, things your company does well. So company being you, what do you do well? Do you cold call well? Do you door knock well? Are you really good at online marketing? This is going to help you formulate your business plan. What are your strengths? If you're someone that absolutely hates to be on the phone or terrified of being on the phone, maybe, saying that I'm going to cold call 100 calls a day is not, you're going to be definitely a good way to execute your business plan, right? Qualities that separate you from your competitors. So I am an expert negotiator. I am very familiar with the Liberty Village pocket of the, of Toronto. Or what is your strength that separates you, right? I speak another language. That's a strength, right? I speak French. So anybody who comes and they need a French speaking agent, they can come to me, right? Internal resources such as skilled, knowledgeable staff. Okay, so that again goes on the strength of our roster of people around us that we know that can help us perform our business well. Do we have good lawyers that can help us close, good mortgage agents we can turn to, right? Tangible assets such as an intellectual property, capital, proprietary technologies, etc. So I think good tangible assets, you know what I mean, would be, I work for Remax and our SEO brand power is really strong. That's a tangible thing I can tell people. I'll push your listing further. I have really good marketing skills. I'm a very active agent when I have your listing. So this is a nice tangible skill that I can tell my clients is my strength, right? So then you got to think about what your weaknesses are, because you're only as strong as like what you know that you're not capable of doing. So you can work on it and grow on it, right? So you have to really sit down and think, what are my weaknesses? Why is my business not growing? And how am I going to get over that, right? So what are something that your company lacks? They refer to company in this, but we're in this situation where it's our individual. What is something that we lacked? So I'm talking about cold calling. Maybe you despise it. You hate getting on that phone. I was actually going to show you guys a little snippet video before this. I'll show it to you after this SWOT analysis, where the girl talks about how she kind of like was doing her business plan and how she got over her like fear of cold calling, right? But that's something I need to work on, right? So I'm going to work on it to help me grow my business in this area. Things your competitors do better than you. So what are your competitors doing better than you? Okay, well, the top guy, I'm just making stuff up. The top guy in my neighborhood, I know that I see him on every bus in my neighborhood. So that's why he's annihilating it, because anybody who's driving in and out of our little pocket of the neighborhood, you see his ad on the bus all the time. He's advertising, he's marketing to that little farm area better than I am. So that's a weakness that I can overcome if I analyze it, right? Resource limitations. What are my resource limitations? You know what I mean? Is it that I don't have big enough marketing budget? Am I not strong on social media, right? Unclear, unique selling proposition. So maybe I'm kind of all over the place. Maybe I'm not focusing. I haven't picked a pillar neighborhood to work in. I haven't picked a certain persona to work with. And I like to talk really quickly about persona and demographic. I know a lot of people come to me when I train them and they say, oh, my community, my community, my community. Don't focus on that anymore, because it's going to be the death of your real estate business, right? When I talk about persona, it's not a certain demographic I'm talking about. It's like a type of client. So I'm going to work in this neighborhood. I know that this neighborhood is mostly families because they're good schools, good school ratings in this area. So that's sort of my persona, not my demographic that I'm working with, right? What are the opportunities, right, for my business plan? So underserved markets for specific products, okay? So an underserved market might be, hey, I noticed that everybody is really focusing on like families and children moving into this neighborhood because it's got really good school rating, but they're not focusing and door knocking those elderly people that are moving out and making room for the new families. Maybe I'm going to serve that underserved market right now, because personally, like in my little pocket neighborhood, there's a huge like turnover happening where I've lived in the pocket my whole life, and I see a lot of the like all-timer, like the neighbors that have been there the 40, 50 years, just starting to move out one by one, right? The people who have been there forever and ever. So maybe that's the underserved market that I need to go door knock those elderly people, right? You have to focus on how you can serve an underserved market. Few competitors in your area. So everybody knows in their area, there's that agent who's always got his sign up 50 times, you know, over the course of the year, because that farm area is using them over and over again. It's their familiar name. So maybe you're going to find out that another neighborhood doesn't have that. It's more of a mix of signs, right? Maybe you can focus and become that realtor for that particular area, right? An emerging need for your products or services. So again, like I talk about, perhaps you know, it's the elderly moving out, and there's a need for them because a lot of people are marketing online nowadays, and these people aren't getting to that resource. So maybe bringing some print material to that neighborhood would help them be aware of your name a little bit. I know there was a time where they were saying, and it's still true, if you're farming an area, that you have to send out your flyer about 10 times that area. They have to see your name 10 times before they'll remember you. I find that the statistic on that, and when I chat with some people, and I know especially like my brother, he does a lot of like online marketing and that, snail mail and like print flyers are less in your mailbox nowadays. Before, you know, you'd get like a whole bunch. Maybe you get like 2 or 3 every now and then in your mail. People kind of are noticing it a little bit more because it's the minority. It's the lesser way of advertising nowadays. Everybody's focused on that online marketing. So especially if, for instance, if you're going into an area where like there's an elderly community, they might not be online as much, whereas something print in their mailbox might work better for your needs, right? And then press media coverage of your company. So what kind of things are you doing to get exposed, to get out there, to get your name known, right? And then the last thing on SWOT, we're going to go over the threats. So who are emerging competitors? Have we really noticed you've seen a lot more of a certain agent's sign or a certain agent's advertising? Analyze what they're doing, perhaps, you know, mimic or at least do something a little bit better to try and combat that. Changing regulatory environment. So when you're doing your business plan, for instance, you say next year, okay, for instance, let me take back 2017. 2017 was a really good year for everybody. It was a lot like the situation we were in, where it was hot bidding wars and everything was going over asking, right? All of a sudden, the mortgages changed, the interest rates changed. 2018, we saw a big fall in the market. So if you're writing your business plan and you're aware that, for instance, something's going to happen in the regulatory environment, for instance, our things that affect our business are mortgage rates, right? If something like that's going to happen, then you definitely want to take that into consideration into your business plan, because that might be a threat to how you're going to thrive for next year, right? Negative press or media coverage. Well, this is constant in real estate. I find there's always doom and gloom happening. CMHC is always going, oh my God, the market's going to crash, right? And things are going to go so horrible. And it never really happens. Like I say, is interest rates are our biggest threat, I think, but negative press, media coverage are definitely affecting. And changing customer attitudes towards your company, right? So you have to be careful about how your clientele, your persona, people are going to use you are viewing you. So a SWOT analysis, we can see, is a technique used to identify and define several key characteristics that will impact your business: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Think of it this way: strengths and weaknesses are internal. So things that you can control, things that you can change, things that you can tweak, things that you can improve on, right? Whereas threats and opportunities are external. You don't really have control over that. So what you have to do is you have to take these external things and figure out how they're going to affect your business going forward for the next year, right? An analysis can be as simple as making a list of items under each of these categories. So what are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? You know what I mean? For example, a strength could be strong and experienced sales team, while a weakness might be that your business is expensive to run because you haven't nurtured supplier relations. It could be as simple as filling 4 sheets of paper with descriptions of the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Collaboratively or alone. To make the answers clearer and the exercise easier, you can use these questions like, what do my competitors do better than us? That's a threat, right? What's our unique selling point? It's a strength, right? Why have customers churned in the past, which would be a weakness? Which markets are underserved in your territory and be an opportunity? Okay, before we go over our SMART goal, I want to see if I can play this video for you guys. I meant to play it at the beginning. How's everybody doing online? Everybody is good so far? No questions? What about condo door knocking? Is it better to send flyers or snail mail? Okay, so condo door knocking is a little bit iffy because the management, right? So management usually has rules that you can't be canvassing. I find a lot of buildings do that. You can't be canvassing door to door within their condo building because it's a threat. Just like they don't most of the time, they don't let us give us keys to the common areas and stuff like that when we're showing the condos, because it's a privacy issue. Good morning. It's a privacy issue, right? So condo buildings are governed by, they don't let that people pass that front door or the concierge. So very often you'll find they won't let you go in and door knock. It is difficult. I think flyers or snail mail are better in that regard. And then maybe like a cold call to the building. I find when I've had listings up in condos, I tend to call the whole building and say, hey, I've got this listing, or hey, I just sold this over asking, and that's better than going and knocking. I've actually been kicked out of condo buildings in my early real estate career. I kid you not. Because we were door knocking with our flyer and stuff like that, 330 McCowan is a really strict building, right? Because the security literally kicked me out. So me and my sister-in-law, we were flyering. So what happens if you get kicked out? Can you get charged with anything? So I think I get asked this question about, getting kicked out, trespassing because you go door knocking on people's houses. That's trespassing technically. Cold calling if they're on the do not call list. Yeah, trespassing. Cold calling if you're on the do not call list. What happens? Okay. I say at the end of the day, just be gracious and kind whenever you come across these things, right? So I generally aren't a nasty person, and I'm not going to go back and back and back to that building after getting kicked out. I think if you're just doing something harmless, like canvassing your business or just trying to, make a cold call and you're really polite, hopefully the person on the other end will understand. Security was mean that day, but I just politely left and, didn't go back and didn't door knock in that condo building again. Nobody go to 330 McCown. Just trust me, they're really strict. So, so I wouldn't worry about it too much. I don't think you can get severely charged. I think even if they called the cops and they came it's going to 330 McCown. Yeah. Anyways, Seraph's got a death wish. She wants to go to 330 McCown. Anyways, like I think even if somebody was called, if like you're not kicking up a fuss, you're not being super rude, I don't think you're going to get charged with anything, or you're not really doing anything terrible. It's just the condo board rules that they're protecting which is great, because if you live in that condo, you appreciate those things. It's not a bad thing. The people who live in 330 McCowan, ever since that, whenever I've sold or tried to buy for clients in that building, now I push it as a positive point. I say, I got kicked out of here once when I was like a young real estate agent trying to flyer. They've got really good security in here. It's actually a positive point for our clients at the end of the day, right? So I wouldn't stress about it too much. Okay, let me go and try and share my screen here. I want to open up. Hold on one second here. Is it this one? Okay, I just want to back it up so you guys can see this, because I know sometimes when I go back and forth, I lose the share. And I don't want to lose you guys online here. Okay. I want you guys to see this. So hopefully it plays. I think it's this one. There we go.
This is the business plan that I use to create a six-figure real estate business. Number one, assess the previous year. I made $0 in 2019, so you want to look at how much you made, what were your expenses, and about 17 other metrics. Number two, production goals. And I made a goal to sell 10 houses to make $100,000. I decided that I was going to have to cold call for at least 4 hours a week and talk to around 100 people before I made a sale. So I created a daily schedule that if I stuck to it every single day, it would get me to my goal. It was something like wake up, go to the gym, read for an hour, make calls for an hour, have lunch, go on appointments, have dinner. Pretty simple. Lastly, I defined 5 challenges that I would have, and I gave myself 5 solutions so that I would have no excuses to not reach this goal. One of my challenges is that I'm scared to talk to people. So my solution was to read 30 pages a day about human psychology and rehearse my sales script for 30 minutes a day. So if you create a plan, stick to your schedule, and get committed, you'll be successful in this business.
See, I like this video because I watched it and she talks about how she made, hold on, let me just stop the share here. She talks about how she made 0 in 2019 and then she's 6 figures in 2020, right? Super easy. Real estate is a limitless field. As hard as you work and as good as you plan, you're going to make the money in it. It's a no-brainer, right? So if it's easy as going from 0 to 6 figures in 2019 to 2020, if you've already spent a year in real estate now, which I know most of you have, I've been here at least 5 months, I've been seeing your guys' faces, right? Everybody here, you can definitely double what you did this year. You know, maybe 1.5 times what you did this year, as long as you have a good strategic business plan in place and you know how you're going to execute it, right? And you stick to it. Again, when I go over goal setting, we're going to talk about setting up our schedule, right? Like she was saying there really briefly, get up, go to the gym, eat breakfast, take the kids to school. It seems really silly, but the thing is that you have to have it there and you have to be mindful of it. And then of course there's the 80-20 rule. You're going to follow it 80% of the time, right? Saturday and Sunday, you might not follow that, right? That's great. That's your day off. If you took a Friday off though, you better believe you want to pick up that Saturday or Sunday and catch up the slack. Otherwise you're not going to execute and finish your goals at the end of the day. All right, so we'll go back to the article here. All right, we're going to list our SMART goal now. So now before we talked about, you know, how we're going to do our plan, how we're going to analyze to execute our plan, you know what I mean? What our strengths and weaknesses and opportunities and threats were, right? But what are our goals? So a good way to think about your goal planning is SMART. They try to remember it by SMART. So you have to be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. Okay. So your goal, specific, provide a clear description of what needs to be achieved. Okay. I want to make $200,000 next year. Great. Or I want to double my business, right? I want to, whatever it is your specific goal is. Measurable includes a metric with a target that indicates success. So you can't just say, I want to make $300,000 next year. You have to have a plan how to do that. So basically what you're going to say to yourself is, okay, I work mostly in Scarborough for, you know, detached bungalows. The average detached bungalow is going for $1 million. The average commission for a purchase is 2.5. The average commission for a listing is hopefully more than 1, but we're going to say 1, right? And I need to do maybe 5 lists. I'm just making it up off the top of my head, 5 listings and 10 purchases to achieve my goal this year based on the average commissions, right? So it has to be measurable, right? Achievable, set a challenging target, but keep it realistic. So please don't say, I'm going to make $1 million next year if you made 25,000 this year. It has to be something achievable that you can snowball on for the following years. You'll get to that million, but if you set a goal that's unachievable, you're going to be disappointed. And if you don't achieve that goal, right? Relevance, keep your goal consistent with higher level goals, right? So you want to keep your goal. You don't want to say, okay, I made 100,000 this year, I want to make 110 next year. That's not really a goal, right? You want to you want something that you have to work towards, that you have to put a little blood, sweat, and tears in to make it happen, right? And time bound, set a date for when your goal needs to be achieved. So, I mean, for us, it's pretty easy. I kind of work with the sheet that I'm going to give you guys in a couple of weeks from a January to December kind of thing, right? And we're going to go through the different markets. You know what I mean? First quarter might not be as good as second quarter, because second quarter is going to be our big spring market. Then, of course, third quarter, we're going to slow down again. You're going to have summer there. People chill out a little bit, go out with their families. And then your final quarter, you got that last little push for our year, our fall market, into everybody that wants to kind of move and get in by Christmas, right? So it's important to have it be time bound, right? It's great to be ambitious, but focusing down on one goal makes it easier to stay motivated, track progress, and see the measurable effect of achieving it. Even better if that goal is SMART, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timed. Example of SMART goals you might set for your growing real estate business is build a new real estate website in the next 3 months. You know what I mean? Something I need to get around to. I haven't switched my real estate website over, but it hasn't really affected me too much, but I should have that presence, right? Increase my monthly leads by 50% next year. Sell 10 houses in the Scarborough area in the next 30 days. That's a little ambitious, but still, you want to just set something, right? Pick one at a time and focus on it. Sticking to an achievable goal with a time limit makes it more likely it'll actually come to fruition. And even just writing it down makes it 42% more likely to attain it. So it's very surprising. I don't know about you guys, but if you guys hang around me a lot, you often hear me say, oh, if I think about it and I do it, the universe brings it to me. The universe brings it to me, right? I find that when I really focus on something, the universe, and I'm a true believer of that, right? I think you draw the energy towards you. How are you going to do that? You're going to write down your goals. When you write down your goals, however it helps you, if it's on your phone and you look at it once a day, or if it's sticking on your wall in your office, or somewhere where you brush your teeth in the morning and you wake up and you see it over and over again, it's going to make that goal come to you more often, because it's going to be on the top of your mind. Subconsciously, you're always going to be working for it, right? If you keep it there. So create a strategic real estate business plan. How you create your real estate business plan varies based on your needs, but there are core issues every real estate business plan should address. We've broken this into 4 areas. Define your marketing strategy, create a financial plan, implement your action plan. I think that's one of the most important parts of this. Evaluating and revising your plan. For each area, outline specific tasks you should perform and provide tools to help you along the way. So defining your marketing strategy, hopefully I'll get through a little bit more of this, but we'll see. Defining your marketing strategy, identifying your market niche. Before setting your facts and figures, it's important to put a spotlight on your target market and how you'll serve this niche. This helps you decide on what's realistic and feasible to achieve in your business plan. Determining your market niche is a fancier way of saying who specifically are your services best suited to, right? While honing in on narrow targets seems a little exclusionary, niche marketing can save you time, effort, and money on marketing. So time, effort, and money on marketing. If you're focusing your marketing on a broad spectrum of people and you're not focusing on a niche market, you're wasting a lot of your marketing skills, because you're sending it and it's only appealing to a certain crowd. You know what I mean? It's kind of just wasting your time, just throwing it to the wind, right? You want to sit there and try and focus. What are my strengths? Now, when I say this, I get questioned a lot. Well, what if I get other people to work with? Of course, you're going to work with those people, right? Anybody who approaches you, when I talk about working your pillars, if you're working this farm area, it doesn't mean that if someone calls you from Mississauga, you don't go take that listing. You take that listing, right? When we talk about these kind of things, it's when you're looking for business, when you're searching for business, when you're looking for a pool to pull from, to get business from. Some people always say, how do I get my leads? This is how you get your leads. When you define your marketing strategy, when you hone in on a specific strength that you have, when you hone in on a certain market niche, right? Of course, you're going to take business from newlyweds and old people wanting to sell, and people upsizing and downsizing, and whatever the case may be, fixer-uppers to, from Mississauga all the way to as far as you're willing to drive, right? But this is just where you're trying to focus and pull your business from, how you're going to boost your extra business, right? So determining, I went over that. One tool to help you define your market is a persona. So we talked about that. You got to think about the persona, who you're going to identify with. So we already went over this: unmarried couple, roommates, whatever the case may be. To get started creating a persona, ask yourself a couple of simple questions. What's the demographic of your ideal buyer? So age, location, gender, etc. What is it that makes or breaks a deal with this buyer, right? Which nearby amenities matter to this buyer? So we talked about, like, the family with the young kids. School ratings are definitely a big important thing, right? Grocery stores nearby, rec centers nearby, skating rinks. They like these kind of things, right? Neighborhoods with those kind of things. What is the brand of neighborhoods this buyer skews towards? So, if you have the young working professionals, they might prefer like the Liberty Village vibe with the condos and everything within walking distance, right? What is the buyer's job and household income? How does this buyer like to be contacted? So again, we talked about whether it's social media or a phone call or some kind of print advertising. At the end of the step, you should be able to answer, who's your target customer? What are the defining characteristics of your target customer? What service is your target customer seeking? How will you attract, nurture, and service this target customer? Which is super important. We'll go on that later on. I'm not sure if we'll get to that today. Assess the viability of your niche market. It's important to assess your niche market and make sure it's consistent with the market in your area. For example, if you decided to focus on first-time home buyers, do some research to look at the relevant stats and figures. What percentage of sales in your market area were to first-time home buyers in the last 12 to 14 months? What was the average sales price to first-time home buyers? So if you're saying I want to work with first-time home buyers, but you've chose EO8 Clipcrest to work in, I'm pretty sure you're not going to find a lot of first-time home buyers buying $2 million homes. There are, but it doesn't happen every day. Are you the only agent catering to the first-time buyers? Are you competing with heavy hitters who are well known? So we all know, we talked about those anchor agents that are annihilating certain neighborhoods, right? A competitive SEO audit can be useful starting point, finding your competitors in the online space. So does anybody know about SEO marketing? Okay, SEO marketing is usually hire companies to do it. It's keyword searches. So people organically go to, say, for instance, Google, right? And they're going to type in Scarborough agent. Who comes up when you type in Scarborough agent? Or even tie it in a little bit further. I'm in the Woburn community. Woburn, agent in Woburn. Who's the first one that comes up? Okay, whoever the first person that comes up, they've got good SEO marketing, really good SEO marketing, because they're making sure they've got front page annihilation when people search. That isn't something that just automatically happens. You have to work towards it. Just because you have a website doesn't mean you're going to come up on first page of Google, even if you said in your description on your website that you're a realtor that works in Woburn. Okay, there's background, I don't even know what to call it, geometrics or whatever they have to do to push your SEO marketing online. So by doing a basic Google search of whatever area you're planning to farm or whatever market you want to work in, you get to find out who the big hitters are. So remember when we talked about your threats, right? We want to know who your threats are. I think it's such a harsh word to say threats, but who your competitors are in that market. Do a Google search, find out more about your competitors. What are they doing to advertise to be successful in your neighborhood? How are they marketing themselves? What kind of target audience are they going towards, right? That'll help you define yourself in that niche that you want to be in. And it's different for everybody. Who you want to work with, what area you want to work with, what are your strengths, right? Again, here, it's just said exactly what I did. You can learn a lot from your competitors, properties, branding, content, other information they have online, all useful information to help in your market analysis. All worth monitoring is channels which your competitors use predominantly for marketing and sales. So you can test those methods and replicate their success. So for instance, I might find that, the really popular person that I find is up and coming in my neighborhood is really using TikTok a lot, right? TikTok is kind of like, well, our kids are using TikTok and, I don't want to say we're old, but it's definitely a forum that we're not used to. So maybe it's something we can experiment. I know Instagram has started this Reels now. The Reels are getting viewed more online because they're really pushing that forum, I think, to kind of go against TikTok and what they're doing, right? You want to find out what they're using that's making them so popular nowadays, right? All right, we'll go over a little bit more and then I can see if you guys have any questions, because this is like a long section. We're gonna have to break this into two. And then I say I gotta work it in, because I know the last couple of weeks of December, nobody's gonna be around for training. So we're not gonna train the last couple of weeks. But by the first or second week of December, before the gala, I definitely want to make sure that all of us have our goal setting down and some of our business plans in action, right? So build a digital home base. Pre-internet, the way someone in your target market bought a house was to drive down to the local trusted real estate agent or real estate brokerage. They walk you through the whole process, right? That's how it went. Times have changed. The modern home buyer starts their journey online. 44% of them is the stat. And 95% use the internet at some point during the process. I think the stats are even higher than this, to tell you the truth. I don't know anybody that, I mean, maybe the odd like 80-year-old elderly agent, but I find even a lot of like, you know, my parents' age and a little bit older have their phones, they're checking stuff out online, right? So I really feel like the stat is a little bit dated. This means you need to be present on review sites, social media, and most importantly, search. So we talk about that SEO marketing, right? So the first steps that our buyers take during home buying process is 44% look for online properties, online for properties for sale. 17% contacted a real estate agent. 13% looked online for information about a home buying process. 7% contacted a bank or mortgage lender. 6% talked with a friend or relative about the home buying process. 6% drove by homes and neighborhoods. So a lot of them we find will go start driving in the neighborhoods they want to move into, right? Generational data says that 30% of the silent generation contacted a real estate agent. 18% of millennials looked online for information. 11% of millennials talked with a friend or relative, and 53% of younger boomers looked online for a property for sale. So it's important, as you can see, it's important to have that online presence. Identify your core lead gen channels. Let's see, yeah, I can do this one. Whether you're in real estate or enterprise software, lead gen channels are often similar. That's because customer research and sales process is so online centric these days. Especially with our last 2 years with COVID. I keep on reiterating how important it was to take those photographs, do those virtual tours, the 3D walk throughs, the drone photos, because of everything that was happening. It was so online centric this year. With it being COVID, so many more people were online vetting properties before they actually went to go view the properties, right? I found a lot of my clients, instead of showing them, you know, 10 in the course of a week, I was, you know, they were hesitant to see 2 or 3. They were really trying to vet the property to make sure that they wanted to enter into other people's space, right? Because everything was so, you know, online centric, but COVID centric, right? Other than search, you might generate leads with paid social ads, client referrals, outdoor advertising, or local events. The first step is to figure out what's working for competitors. Thankfully, there's loads of tools to find this out. So I talked about going on Google, checking out your competitors, checking out what their SEO marketing is like, checking out what they're doing, what channels they're using. Even if you guys don't disregard when you get the print mail, I always collect them up and bring them into the office, and I look over them with my coffee because I want to see, what did they put on their ad? What are they offering? Free staging? Oh, you're going to win a car. Oh, they're giving away this, or they're doing that. You know, I want to look and see what everybody's doing, right? Because you get good ideas. There's no harm in mimicking what they're doing or taking something back from it and working, maybe improving and doing better on what they're doing in that market. So it definitely will be helpful for you. Okay, I'm not going to start the financial plan part because it's a whole other section. So I'm just going to go back here and stop the share for a second and see how everybody's doing online. What's here? What's F5, Saraf? Sorry, I missed that. How's everybody doing online? Have you guys ever tried, has anybody tried to like write down their goals before to see if it's helped them, or had any success with writing a sound business plan? Not even for real estate. Like if you had to write a business plan ever to get a loan for a business you wanted to start up, or any experience in this department at all? Anything you guys want to add to it? No? Basically, to do anything, it should be your forte, because if you want to do anything, you want to go and get a loan from the bank, you have to write a business plan for them, right? And it's not easy. I mean, there's actually companies out there that you hire that can help you write business plans, because it's not easy when you have to sit down and think about it. That's why I like to start the conversation earlier, like now in November, when we're sitting here working towards January. January's fast approaching, and like I say, it'll hit you like a ton of bricks. We're going to go through December. I'm going to guarantee you not a lot of people are going to work past the gala on December 18th. From December 18th on to January 1st, 2nd, whenever the kids go back to school, whatever day that is, there's going to be no work happening. When you come back that first week of January, you better already have your business plan in place and start working on it, or your first quarter is going to not be successful, right? Part of what I have So how do you raise your online presence? Is it by sales or how much you post? Well, your online presence is whatever you think is working for you. So like I said, maybe I'm not as amazing as my teenagers on TikTok. And I can't raise as much of a following, but maybe I'm really good at pushing stuff on Facebook and I have a big following on my page. So I think it's like I say, aside from online, when people are here working and they're like, how do I grow my business? I try to find out what your forte is. What's your forte? Are you really good at doing phone calls? Or are you really good at going out and door knocking? Or, you're really good at working your center of influence. So it all just depends for your online presence, what's working for you, what you like. If you're catering to the elderly moving out of neighborhoods, TikTok's not going to help you, right? On your online presence. So it's really as per each individual. That's why each individual business plan is so personal to you, right? Because it's depending on your strengths, your goals, and how you're going to achieve them. And how you're going to achieve them is what talents you have, what strengths you have at the end of the day. So, but good question. I mean, I'm willing to help any of you. I keep on saying to everybody who come in, who, especially new agents, but old agents too, sometimes you get stuck in a rut and you don't know what to do. I myself go back to basics. If I don't have any work this week and I don't have a buyer or seller that I'm working with, I go back to my basics. I go back to my pillars. I go, okay, let me open up this client list I have, my center of influence. Who haven't I called in a while? Let me start calling these people. Hey, I sold you that house. How are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. How's everything going? Do you know anybody buying or selling? Right. And you keep on going through that. Right. So, I mean, if you're having trouble and you're looking for a way to boost your online presence, you can come in and I can see, do you have a Facebook page? Are you adept at posting on Instagram? Maybe you're really personable and bubbly and you like to do, TikTok videos or Instagram reels. I don't know. We'll have to work on it and see what works best for you. So, yeah. Anybody got any questions?
I have a question.
Yeah.
You buy a house.
Yeah.
The basement.
Yeah.
How do you know that the owner doesn't know how to know the legal basement or not?
So if the owner doesn't know, I'm going to say more than likely it's not, because when they purchased, they probably would have been told, right?
Yeah.
Oshawa has a list. I don't know how valid the list is, to tell you the truth, but you could always call the city and find out, because a lot of times when you have to, I know you have to go through the whole process, like the fire department has to come in and say, oh yeah, no, there's 2 points of egress and there's windows and whatever the case may be. So I don't know. I'd start at the city. I think, yeah, I think that's the best route. I call the city for everything. You know what I mean? Like people say, oh, the backyard has an easement on title, and I'll phone and they'll go, well, that's an old hydro one that was put there years ago. Or I sold a property in Pickering recently and there was a green space behind and people wanted to know if it was ever going to be built back there. So call the city. I'm always calling the city, because even if you call them and it's the wrong department, they'll direct you to the right place. Oh, no, I can't tell you that, but maybe I'll send you to planning, and planning can tell you if there's any future development plans for that area, kind of thing. Right. So, yeah.
When home inspection, the inspector, when they knew, maybe when they came.
Home inspectors don't have any way to know more than we do.
Yeah.
Right. They really don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. They could guess, you know what I mean? They could say it would probably pass because it's got this, this, and this, and this. Yeah. It's got fire separation, whatever they're looking for, but I don't know if they won't know for sure, hard and fast, if it's legal or not. Okay. So
call the city better.
Call the city for sure. Yeah. When in doubt, just call. All right, everyone. Everyone have a good week this week. We're going to talk more about goal setting too. Don't forget tomorrow's Rob Vivian. It's the last week already. We're through 8 weeks. So if you guys can come in because it'll be fun. We'll order some lunch again and we'll have some fun tomorrow for our last week for Rob Vivian, right? All right, guys, I'll talk to you all soon. Goodbye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.